Namaste and Jai Shri Krishna to all. Welcome to Path to Anandam series number 13. And today our topic is power of mindful breath and oneness. Previously we discussed about oneness. And this is a continuation of that series. And what are the other elements, other techniques can help us to reach to that level? Pranam to Swamiji, Harihatji Maharaj, for his guidance and blessings. I'm Satya Kalra, your host and founder of Path to Ananda. And based on the teachings of science and spirituality, connection of body, mind, and soul, and how to live healthy, happy, and peaceful life, and still go beyond and experience who am I.
Satyaji, I also start to have the volume problem.
Say it again.
There is a volume is very dim.
How about now? Has that improved? The contents of today's talk: power of conscious breathing, the path to oneness. So what is conscious breathing? Why breathe consciously? Science of conscious breathing and barriers to conscious breathings. What hinders our conscious breathing? And then how to breathe consciously? What are the practices? Our sankalpa. I breathe consciously. And homework with the tip of the day and meditation. I breathe for oneness. And then question and answers if there are any. So we all know that we breathe automatically. But it is not just a physical act. The connection between life and death is the breath. So breath is the bridge, the sacred bridge between body, life and death, and body, mind, and soul. And it is a vital tool for our inner purification. And according to our Vedas, such as yoga, Vedantas, Bhagavad Gita, all talk about breath, the sacred bridge between life and death. And when we are living, then it's body, mind, and soul. So we will basically, in this session, how breath can transform our inner and outer world. In other words, how can we connect with and experience the oneness where we see supreme power, God's creation, God in every living being and non-living being. So conscious or mindful breathing is, this is the actually, it is a practice of becoming aware of our breath. Breath, it moves in and out of our body in every inhalation and exhalation. So basically it connects our living beings, the mind, body, and soul. And it says that if mind is the king of the senses, which we talked about many times from Bhagavad Gita, then the breath is the king of the mind. And that's why it is so important to control our mind, keep our mind in proper direction if we breathe properly. So why it's so important? We know that it's an automatic process. It brings the oxygen and energy in our body. It affects our heartbeats, our heart rate, blood pressure, stress, nervous system, hormone production, and mainly the fear part, fight and flight responses. Our digestive system, all of our physiological systems are depending on the, not just the breath, but the quality of our breath. That's where the whole topic is about. Conscious breathing to improve the quality of our breath. Because it controls our moods, as we know that if we are anxious, our heartbeat goes high and our breathing pattern changes. And many times it disturbs our sleep. Like 1 out of 7 people in America have sleep apnea. In other words, when they sleep at night, they do not breathe properly. And in fact, it affects their health, their moods, immune system. So it connects us not just with it takes care of our body and mind, but it also connects us to supreme power, our higher self. And it says in Bible, breath is life, and God is my breath. And here it also, you can just see it, a breath is the bridge which our life, someone's life, our life, which connects us to our life, to consciousness, which unites our body and our thoughts. Again, good example is that when we are upset, we breathe very fast. And here actually, the activities with the breath. An average person at rest takes about 16 to 18 breaths per minute, about 916 breaths an hour, 23 to 25,000 breaths a day, and 8.5 to 10 millions per year. So now you can say how much we breathe. But the person who is running, it takes breathes faster, and the breath rate goes higher from 16 to 18 to 20 to 25. But at the same time, when we are at that very relaxed or very calm or during the meditation, it could go as low as 4 to 6 breaths per minute. And yogis who are sitting in Kailash Parvat and in Himalayas, their breath, they breathe so slowly. Sometimes they don't breathe for minutes. And that's why they live very long life, because the longevity of our life depends on the number of breaths we got. We all say that jitni सांसें हैं उतना ही जिएंगे. But that's the one thing we have in our hands. How fast we exhaust the treasure of breath. For example, if we have money in the bank, suppose we have money, $1,000. Now that $1,000 could last for a whole year, or could last if we draw the money $10 a month, or $100, or $500, then it exhausts accordingly. Similarly, when we fill the gas in the car, suppose car, it takes 300 miles. Now we can drive it in one day, or we can drive it in 1 week or 1 month. Whatever time we use it, that's the time it lasts. Similarly, if we breathe, we are calm, we breathe slowly, and the life prolongs. Sometimes people might ask question, it has been written and then that this is the day one dies and then there is no relationship. But study shows, Vedas, our Shastras, it repeats over and over that our number of breaths we take, our longevity of life is accordingly. And what does Bhagavad Gita say about it? It says, basically it's pranayam. That it's all the time you will say pranayam, 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 pranayam. Here, some yogis offer the outgoing breath into incoming breath and incoming into outgoing breath. Means they have a full control on our breath, on their breath. So they make a best use of their breath. Also, this is a very beautiful, the next verse, where controlling the breath leads to liberation and oneness. On the top, it says, like in verse 6.29, they use breath as a yajna. So they do that. There are many types of different yajnas, and pranayam is one of the yajna. They do it. Yajna, jisko ki hum log bolte hain. This is one of the pranayam is a one type of yajna. But here, Bhagwan Krishna says, Prashant kratva bahir bayam, chakshucha antre bhuvo, prana pan samo kratva, nasabbe antarcharina, chatindriya mano buddhi muni moksha parayana, vigat ichha bhakrodo, sada yukta evasa, means shutting out external sense objects, fixing our eyes between the, or gaze our, that's sixth chakra. I mean the seventh right here in the eye chakra. Between the eyebrows. It balances the inward and outward breath that moves within the nostrils. The sage who control over his senses, minds and intellect, mano buddhi, that person, sage doesn't mean that with the robes, but basically that person who practices dedicates to liberation and who has given up desires, fears, and anger. Vigat ichha bhai krodho. Such a person, sada mukta evsa, is always liberated and one with the supreme power because his focus is just his purpose of life. And then again it says, with a disciplined mind, constantly engaged in meditation, the yogi achieves peace. Yujnevam sada atmanam yogi niyat manasa shanti nirvan paramam mat sanstham gachati. That shanti gachati. So he receives that shanti by practicing. So if we cannot do any other practice, pranayam, which increase the quality of the breath, gives us a continuous flow, we become more aware of it, leads to not just the healthy life, but also takes us to oneness with the Supreme. So if that is the case, then why can't we just do it? What are those hindrances, barriers? Why can't we just pay attention to how we breathe? What disconnects us from our body, mind, and soul? By now we know that is a breathing. How we breathe, that's how our body, mind, and soul are related. It relates to it. But these are the basically the, I put it together here is a bad posture, overweight, some of the diseases, cannot sleep at night, then next day the breathing pattern will change. And then also the mental distraction happens. Anxiety, stress, all fear, negative thoughts, they're all related to the type of or the way we breathe. If we breathe more shallow breathing means just from the chest, not the deep breathing where it goes all the way from the stomach area. And that's why we always practice our meditation from the lower part of the stomach to fulfill the whole body. And then also, if there is too much noise going on, and many are the external, here I put it right here, but you can see it. And many times we have a habit, we are not trained to breathe deeply, properly. So it is our habit. We are on autopilot. And keep breathing the way we just breathe because we are not aware of it, that how we should be breathing. And if we don't, then what does it do? So lack of awareness, understanding the power of breath and the correct breathing causes all these problems, which further explained here. See here how the mind is disturbed. And this is a slide from the oneness from the previous session where the mind is disturbed. And the problems are again summarized here. Diseases, stress, ignorance, and then our ego, attachments, greed, that jealousy, resentments, and then running around, multitasking. It disturbs the pattern of the breath because the more we are anxious, the pattern of the breath, and then we go on the autopilot. And if we are busy all the time, then definitely we do not pay attention to our breath. So what should we do here? How can we improve our pattern of breath? The number one, we should be mindful of it. Breathe with awareness. That's why I put the sign of awareness. We should breathe with awareness. And that's where we, in meditation, we pay attention to it. Observe your breath. Be witness to your breath. How we breathe. And the simple example, it is breathe like a baby. You know how the babies breathe? The tummy goes up and down because they are breathing from the tummy, not from just from the diaphragm, from the chest area. And if we continuously practice pranayam, then it comes in our regular pattern. Then our autopilot of the anxiousness does not come in the picture. And other thing is, we should take a time to be still, sit down and practice silent. Moni, moni, moni. It comes many times in Bhagavad Gita. Moni sada santusht. It's in chapter 12. And then, of course, if we follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, like do our action, karma into dharma, in other words, perform our duty without attachments to the actions, to the results, with love and compassion and with wisdom, and do the meditation, then our system automatically is calm, more peaceful, and also we benefit. Our lungs are more healthy, our mind is more stable, our health is better, and then we start seeing Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. This is the verse we used last week for the oneness. So whoever sees Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mam pashyati, tasmai na pashyami, sachmai na pashyati. In other words, who sees God within and also in others, for that person or for those, I'm always there because they're connected with me. In other words, they experience the oneness, and this is the benefit of conscious breathing. And not only we just see God in others and ourselves, but we actually experience Chit Ananda in us and also in others. So breathing consciously connects us to our body, mind, and soul. Means it takes us to oneness. But I still again put these benefits here again, just to summarize it, that there are so many benefits. The lung capacity increases. It improves our concentration. It detoxicates our body because pranayam and conscious breathing, it cleanses our system. In other words, when we take oxygen in the body and then exhale carbon dioxide, it detoxicates our body. It gives us a better sleep. And when we have a better sleep, our immune system is strong, our cardiovascular system is better, our digestive system is better, our endocrine system is better, which controls the hormones and enzymes in the body. And we are more calm, and we could hear the inner voice. And actually, this is being used for self-healing in the therapeutic processes, and especially nowadays they use it in hospitals and in army areas especially. So this is a solution for all, because it's not just the person benefits here they can have a healthy body, peaceful mind, and connect to the supreme power, but connect to the rest of the world and start seeing God everywhere. So from healthy body to mind and connection to the soul, also they connect to everyone in the supreme power, creation, prakriti. So our practices of conscious breathing to oneness, this is, as I always mention, this is a very powerful 30 days planner. This is the basis for self-purification and self-transformation. And once we practice this, we can achieve anything, not just our at conscious level, or increase the power of our physiological body, or stabilize our mind, like chanchal mind, stabilize it. But we can manifest our, whatever the goal we set, we are more toward reaching to that goal with these practices. But very simple practices we have to do. Start our day with positive notes, some spiritual practices, reading our daily, whatever resonates with her, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Guru Granth Sahib, or any other literature, or any other scripture, or autography, or my own sankalpa. And then practice. We must pay attention to this for good health, happiness. And here with pranayam, we feel connected and we can meditate. But these are the normal practices which and I talk about in every session. But one thing here, the focus is conscious breathing to oneness. And how? Breathe with mindfulness. Pay attention to it. And then automatically detoxification, in other words, self-purification happens, transformation happens. And we get more closer and closer to experience who I am. And again, the conscious breathing is the key, where we connect within and without, within our body, mind, and soul, and also without means external world, others. So we attain, we gain healthy, happy, and peaceful life, and experience the true self. In other words, our true nature, that I am Chit Ananda. So in the evening, we should evaluate. This is called our daily practices, and the daily, so evening evaluation is part of it. Doing meditation is a part of it, praying, and then do our practices. Certain days we continue, certain days we just kind of, we get some setbacks, but Bhagwanji says, don't worry about it. I'm there to take care of you. Sarv dharman paritajya. Don't worry about it. You follow your daily practices. I am there for you. Ma should say, don't worry about it. So our sankalpa for today is, I breathe consciously. I breathe with awareness. Because sankalpa, once we have sankalpa, our body, our mind is all tailored toward it. The only thing we have to have is sankalpa, that this is what I like to do. And our sankalpa is to first control our mind, make a best use of our thoughts, where we can be connected. We could lead to oneness with supreme power and experience the true calmness and healthy, happy, and peaceful life. But it takes a process. It's not as simple just to, we just come here on Sunday and listen to it and practice it. But this practice should be continued for the whole week with one sankalpa. And then little by little, shanai shanai uppar mein buddhya buddhi grahita, our mind gets cleansed, our buddhi gets cleansed, and then eventually we reach to our goal. But the focus is we should be fully committed to sankalpa. So our homework is, I put it here, we must be sakshi. We must live in awareness. Awareness of what? Remind ourselves. Do I focus on my purpose of life? Am I breathing consciously? And then what thoughts separates me from my breath? Is this those 5 + 2 enemies? Attachment, desires, greed, jealousy, resentments. Whatever it is, we should be aware of it. And do I see my inner connection? Do I feel my inner connection? And do my spiritual practices? Do I continuously do it or do it only Sunday and Sunday? Because it's here it says, breathe is deeply. If we breathe in deeply to bring your mind, then our body and mind are all connected. So witnessing breath, which is sakshi bhav, swaha, swas, not breathe without the witnessing. In other words, not the sakshi bhav, but with the sakshi bhav. And continuously practice about self-inquiry, which is the key, which brings us more to awareness. So tip of the day here is breathe consciously and heal body, mind, and soul. And once we do that, we are not just connected with our body and mind, but connected to the supreme power, which is the soul. And then we lead to the liberation, moksha, oneness, Chit Ananda. And here is a nice quote. Inhale and God approaches you. Hold the inhalation and God remains with you. Exhale and you approach God. Hold the exhalation and surrender to God. And Iyengarji also always he reminded us, regulate the breathing and thereby the mind will be controlled and all follows. So this is the best tool to control our chanchal mind. Because Arjun asked that question and Bhagwan Ji gave, but pranayam, he also mentioned prior to that, chapter 6 in Dhyan Yoga, which is Prashant Kartva Bhair Bhayam. You just focus on your breath and you will ultimately reach there. These are the last 2 verses of chapter 5, 27 and 28. So in other words, if we breathe properly with the bhava of surrender, then we ultimately reach to our goal of experiencing who am I, Chit Ananda, and enjoy day-to-day life as well. So thank you very much for attending. And the power of mindful breath and oneness.